AGTV. Check this one out. This is another part of Suge's interview with The Source. This issue of The Source came out in September of '96. This is an excerpt of the interview where he said he went to Dre's house, cops were called, and here it is. Check it out. Make sure y'all subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments below. So we get right into it. Why did Dr. Dre, with whom he built Death Row, decide to leave?
There started to be tension in the camp among other writers and producers. The folks who really did the production and wrote stuff on the Chronic and Snoop's first album started complaining about credit. Daz did over half Snoop's album. Snoop will tell you that, and me and Dre being partners. I always roll with Dre on the issue, but Nick was mad. Things wasn't right by them. I can't have that. Plus, Dre started talking to people at Interscope and other people telling them he don't need nobody. He don't need Snoop on his shit. He don't need nobody. Dre is a bad producer. I can't take that away from him. But Dre didn't become Dre on his own. I went out and got above the rim. Soundtrack for the company, we needed something. Dre did nothing on it. He did one song on murder. Was the case. What bothered him the most was that at the beginning of the end, Dre never really came out and said he wanted out the nigga, just kind of hid, stopped calling. The last time I spoke with him was just before the article in The Source, July of 1996 came out. He was getting ready to put together Death Row Hits album. I sent somebody to Dre's house to get the masters. He called me and said, they don't want to let me in. I said, okay, I'm coming over. I come through the gate, knock on the door, and see motherfuckers running and hiding. What's the shit about? The off-duty cop who worked for Dre come out holding his gun and shit, scared and nervous. That's the last time I got to talk with Dre about this. I ain't no hater, but don't be no bitch about it. Be a man, motherfucker. Dre know he liked to go places and do things, but now he up in the house. You put yourself under house arrest. What kind of shit is that? I told him he should have been a man about it instead of hiding out at home. They called the police, about 20 squad cars out there, but it wasn't no thing. I played a couple of games of pool, got my shit and left. Then I read the interview he's in it, talking like he want drama. He tried to say something about Tupac. That's my nigga, my little brother.
Knight and Dre were equal partners in Death Row. But Knight says in the end, Dre relinquished everything. You're telling me he simply walked away empty-handed, I ask?
Period. So that tells you someday ain't playing with a full deck. That nigga signed to Interscope exclusively. He can't work anywhere else. Dre went from owning something to having a motherfucking job, and he got peanuts. He didn't get nothing, really. If a motherfucker got all the money they supposed to get, then ask a motherfucker to show you the check stub, make a copy of it, and put it in the motherfucking magazine. When Dre was with me, he had a Testarossa, a Mercedes, a Porsche, a Blazer, and some other shit. His new accountant had him sell all that for a 600 Mercedes. One motherfucking car. I hope the nigga's happy. I own Death Row 100% now, and I'm the only motherfucker in this business who owns his masters. I own my shit.
Knight says he first met Dre back in the Ruthless days, when the fledgling producer was still part of NWA. It was actually writer and rapper DOC who introduced him, who since severed ties with Dre and Knight.
Me and DOC used to hang out together, had a good relationship. When he had his accident and lost his voice, Ruthless Records said fuck him. I used to visit him in the hospital and give him money for his medicine. I told him, you're still a writer, do that until you get your health together. You know, he wrote We Want Easy and some NWA stuff. But DOC sold his publishing to Ruthless president Jerry Heller for a watch and a chain. Jerry had the watch chain right there in the contract. I never seen no shit like it in my life. I said, don't worry, we'll deal with it. DOC said if they fucking me, you know they fucking Dre too. Dre said check on my shit too. And that led to me looking into Michelle's deal too. I asked Jerry for the contracts and he wouldn't let me see them. I went to his office one day and he was gone, but had some motherfucker up there who's supposed to stop me. I didn't hurt nobody, just made his boys get on their hands and knees, walk around like a dog, you know, with him. Finally, Jerry called and said, "Okay, I'll meet with you. Just don't hurt me." He offered me $500,000 and a real small piece of ruthless to leave him alone and keep things like they was. That really made me mad because he wanted me to sell my friends out. Jerry was ripping off everybody. He was getting paid on NWA stuff like a member of the group. If NWA went over budget on promotion or videos, he'd take it out of Dre's production money. Heller was giving Michelle 2 motherfucking points and then taking a 20% management fee off the gross, not the net that's fucking illegal. I told Jerry to release them or pay them. I got Dre a car, got him his money by that time. I had chips from music publishing on the Vanilla Ice stuff. I said, "Dre, let's start our own label." And he said, "I'm down." We signed all the Death Row acts up and started work on what became The Chronic. Dre made more with me in 3 months than he made with Heller and Ruthless Damn near the whole time he was there. If it wasn't for me, he'd still be at Ruthless, working for Tamika, Easy's widow, and that's how it all started. I saved Dre's life.
I tell him I heard a story that he actually physically muscled his way into Dre's business affairs while he was working as Dre's bodyguard. He interrupts me.
Let me put it like this. I heard all kind of shit. Dre's bodyguard, E's bodyguard. If somebody had a problem, I'd take care of it. That's just homie love. I treat people like I treat myself. I don't stay at one hotel and have my niggas stay across town. You go where I go, party at my house. Bodyguard. Who had the chips to pay me? I just told you. Niggas was broke.
Knight now admits that Dre's absence from the scene during Snoop's trial only served to further tensions in the death row camp.
I thought it was fucked up that Dre never came to support Snoop in court. He said some shit like he don't like courtrooms, that no one ever came to see him when he was in jail. First of all, when Dre beat up that video girl, D, I told David Kenner, he can't go to LA County Jail. The motherfuckers will kill him. He ain't from the street. We made it so he did his time in the kickback place where you check in, look at TV, and check out. He can't say, nobody never visited him there, because I did, but it wasn't jail. It was kickback. We needed him downtown at the Snoop trial because at one point the prosecution was saying that Dre was in the car with Snoop when the shit went down. That was total bullshit. And to have Dre just come down and say that would have put a hole in a lot of shit they were talking. But the nigga wouldn't come.
When Knight discusses Snoop's trial, he becomes somewhat wistful. Clearly, the case had a profound effect on everyone at the death row, something that Knight does not hide.
When you look at the possibility of being locked up for life, losing just the basic privileges that being a man brings, you're concerned Snoop's case was in God's hands. It was my job to see that he had the best lawyers, the best private investigators, whatever it took to give him his best shot. I knew in my heart we would win because Snoop was innocent. We had friends, the death row family there, anyone who would come down and support him. It was important that he felt that kind of love, and you know what? I watched Snoop become a man in that trial,